been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over with no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, New York.
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
The like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the MBK family. This is the Just Knicking It Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. Tonight, we're talking the best way to build a roster to win a championship. There's news that Giannis had an opportunity or has an opportunity to sign an extension. He came out and said, we'll talk about it more in depth, that he's not going to sign an extension this summer. And if he doesn't feel like the coaches, the players, and maybe even the water boy is not pulling in the same direction, he's not signing next summer either. And that just got me to thinking, what's the best way for this Knicks team to win a championship? Is it to give up some of our depth for Giannis or even an Embiid or another star? Or is it to stay pat with the team we have now and hopefully they'll get better over the next few years and grow into championship contenders? So we'll talk about that. We'll go through FIBA a little bit and we'll talk about that. Let me bring in the crew. I just want to say the CRAM to Understand You series is over. I appreciate everybody that participated. I appreciate Stapha, Anthony D, Geoff, Klafter, Simeon Russell from Nothing But Knicks who did the audio podcast. I appreciate everybody who tuned in, who called in, who hopped on the panel, everyone who read the newsletter, which is coming back, by the way. I got something else going on right now. It was a great series, and it actually, led me to think about maybe having a chat show during the season or having more call-in periods during the regular shows. I'll get it together. Let me bring in the panel. We got Jerrell, welcome back. We got Geoff. We got Delusional Knick fan, and we got Ajay, also welcome back. Shout out to the chat. How's everybody doing?
We are
great.
Good.
Yeah, salute to the chat. Good to be back.
Always delighted to be here with you guys and with the chat and with Knicks Nation.
Of course, let's get it.
Yeah. So let's start with something light. Let's start with FIBA, and then we'll get into the topic of the day. So you guys hang in there. We're gonna get to it. Anything during FIBA that's standing out for you, whether that's Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett? I think that's all we have, right? In FIBA.
Roka Yukabitis, or however
Roka Yukabitis. I haven't seen him play yet, but I think
he's doing his thing.
I keep saying the Knicks USA play him the next game. He plays for Montenegro, if I'm not mistaken. That's 4:40 Friday morning, a few hours from now. I'll catch them when I wake up.
Say they not gonna see me tonight. No.
And then Canada plays at 6:30 in the morning. So back to backs. I'll catch them once I wake up. But any thoughts on FIBA at all?
When's our next game? Do you know when our next game is?
Yeah, 4:40. Friday morning.
Oh, our game is
USA is 4:40. I believe it's against Montenegro. 4:40 Friday morning, and then Canada is at 6:30 Friday morning.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to catch those highlights. Then I will not be catching that one. So, what's your question? You just mean in terms of our players that's playing in FIBA?
Yeah.
You mind if I go jump in at first real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
If I lose my kind of thought. So,
go right ahead.
Barrett, FIBA Barrett is a player I definitely want to kind of talk about because that jump shot, it's looking more tighter with a quicker release, even though the FIBA 3.9 is a little shorter. But it was a couple of highlights that he had in this last game where he was pulling off the dribble, like literally bouncing off the dribble. And you rarely see that from RJ with his timing on the jump shot. The form, the release was excellent. Yes, the FIBA basketball is a different ball than the what we currently play with, but that's showcasing like, okay, if he can, consistently go ahead with that jump shot, that form, that release, and that confidence with him. And then of course is how Canada's utilizing RJ. He has the ball in his hands a lot more, and he's attacking, slashing. I like that from Barrett. Fournier is what we always expect for Fournier in FIBA basketball, is when he has the opportunity and you're not worrying about kids and playing defense, he's going to give you offense. Showed you that he's a pure shooter, which is why we can use him in stints. Not saying we need him in, 15 minutes, throw him in there for 8 minutes where you can see that he can space the floor occasionally and knock down on jump shots. That's that. And Hart. I don't even need to talk about Brunson, but Hart taking over the starting position. This dude is still 6'4". Playing a forward spot in FIBA basketball, where FIBA basketball usually they have bigger players in the sense of moving and being able to put on the floor, things of that nature. And Josh Hart literally just inserted in the starting lineup and doing all the intangibles, being plus 29 on certain games, and he's not even scoring. He's just grabbing offensive rebounds. I think he's like third in FIBA in rebounds. 6'4", wow. Mind you. On an average of everybody else averaging over double figures in rebounding is 6'7" and above. So that tells you that this dude is phenomenal. And it could lead to
no concerns about him playing power forward next season if it comes to that.
No concerns.
Okay.
No concerns.
Do you think him being moved into the starting lineup was because of fit or just because of just outstanding play? And or it could be both.
Well, this year with the U.S. team is not the conventional U.S. team that we usually put out, of where we have surefire defenders here, surefire offense, like a lineup that we put together that's constructed. This is your job. This is your job. Just a bunch of young guys that are kind of put together mixed with some, I guess, mid-tier veterans to kind of get it done. So they were uncertain of what they're going to look. Right. And with Ingram in there, Ingram was unsure about his position. He stated, like, I don't know what they need me for. Do I score? Am I here to play D? What? Right. But Josh Hart knows what he brings to a team, which is why it was easier for them to slide him in and be that anchor on defense. Besides having their center, they needed someone from a guard perspective or wing perspective to play defense. It just so happens that it felt on Hart, because Brunson's the starting point to Anthony Edwards. He's their bucket guy. So you needed someone to play defense.
Yeah, I mean, what impressed me with Josh Hart is the fact that on that coaching staff, you have Kerr, you have Spoelstra, and you have Ty Lue, all respected coaches in the NBA, and they're high on him, which means that Thibodeau may not have been off base, picking him up from the airport and putting him right into the start and giving him 30 minutes soon as he came off the airport, So yeah, yeah. What did Kerr say? He's a winner. That's his position, So I don't know, chat. I know there was some who thought that he was overpaid, who liked him but don't like him that much. From what you're seeing in FIBA, does that change anything? And the respect that he's getting from those coaches, does that change your thoughts a bit? But anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. So, like, everybody to me seemed like, there's no real surprises except for RJ, and I wouldn't necessarily call that a surprise unless it's a pleasant surprise. Like, Brunson is playing like himself. Hart, I'm not really surprised that he took over the starting job. Maybe because Brandon Ingram is struggling, I'm surprised about that. But, him actually playing hard and doing the stuff that he's doing, I'm not surprised by it at all. Right. And Evan Fournier, we already talked about how, like, one thing with Tibbs last year, he could have used Evan Fournier in some instances of spot minutes or something like that just because of his shooting. But, I can see how he's in he can be in the doghouse and he didn't play. But he could have used him because he could still shoot, and Evan Fournier can obviously still play basketball. So other than that, we just need RJ Barrett to continue how he's playing now into the regular season and into playoffs next year, and I think we'll be fine. But no surprises, really.
Okay. Anybody else?
Queen, I want to, listen, right now we got 13 likes. That ain't going to cut it. 13 likes is that we should get 13 likes before we even start the show.
Get them early.
Let's get some likes up, man. But Queen, before we move on to something else, I want to shout out to the Queen who find a way to sneak a little Tom Thibodeau credit here. For that part. A little something, all those coaches. It must have been Tom Thibodeau was right. Yeah, go ahead. Just shout out to you, Queen, for that one.
Listen, you missed the Tib show, and I think it would have been
the Love Fest. Yeah, we missed it.
I think it would have been even better if we were able to take calls. I might have to break down and get that duo while I'm here. And I'm saying to myself, well, I cram to understand you is over, so I may not need it. May not be a press. I'll be back home by the time the season starts. So.
Only thing about that, we'll talk about that later. But that's a crazy expense for for that, just to have your second, studio. But I get it.
Yeah. No doubt about it. All right, let's get into the topic of the day. Giannis Antetokounmpo said that he's eligible to sign an extension with the Milwaukee Bucks this summer. He said he's not signing it, partly because the money doesn't, work out. He said, and so that led to speculation about whether the Knicks would trade for him if he becomes available, the Lakers, blah, 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 blah. But it just brought up the general topic to me. What's the best way for us to win a championship? What's the quickest way? Give up some of our depth and become a bit top heavy with a Giannis or Embiid, or just kind of stay the course? I do want to just read Giannis' comments. So he said, the real question is not going to be this year. Numbers wise, it doesn't make sense. But next year, next summer, it would make more sense for both parties. Even then, I don't know. I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going for a championship. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And if I don't feel that, I'm not signing. I don't want to be 20 years on the same team and don't win another championship. So that's what he said, and that's what led to a lot of the speculation that eventually he may be traded. Any thoughts on that before we get into the topic more in depth?
I just think he's sending a message to the team, honestly. I don't think his desire is to leave, but I felt like he's done this before, just saying in the organization, hey, like, we just need to be on the same page. I don't think it's no disrespect at all or anything. It's just him telling the organization, hey, I want to win another championship. And he understands and knows what it takes to win a championship. Everybody has to be on board, especially management, because they got to spend that budget, take those risks, and the players need to play their part as well. So
right,
that's that take.
Right. Anybody else?
Well, I believe that Giannis is a Knick the day that he puts on the uniform. But to me, if you I love Giannis. I just do. I mean, and if you get a chance to get him and you have to sacrifice your depth to get him, you do it. I mean, you just do it. And the beauty of it is this team has so many quality players on it that you could actually make a Giannis trade, give up a lot, including draft capital, and still have quite a bit left in the cupboard, I think, to make a run, a championship run. To me, he's so good and he's such a game changer and he has so much gravity and he's just, I mean, I would even probably do it for Joel Embiid, but I wouldn't be willing to give up as much. I don't think, because I know he won the MVP, but I don't think he's the same caliber player, at least to me, that Antetokounmpo is, because Giannis has done it in the postseason and Joel hasn't. So when you have a proven commodity like that, a known winner, you have a chance to bring him in the door, you do it. You just get it done. That's really what Leon Rose was brought here to do. And I think that's one of the reasons why they've been a little bit patient with their pieces and not moving them into the center right away, is because they're kind of, and you can criticize this too, because if he never becomes available, it's like, what did you wait for, right? But then if the situation arises and all of a sudden in 12 months Giannis is asking out, and we've held on to all of our draft capital, and we have these younger players who can match salary wise, and we can throw in an all-star in a trade, maybe like a Julius Randle, then all of a sudden you've held on to your cards until the time is right to play him. And so from my perspective, like I said, if you get a chance to get an Antetokounmpo, you do it. Depth is great, but I still think at the end of the day, it's a stars league. And it's very rare, not that it hasn't happened, but it's very rare that you win a championship without top of the line star talent. And I think that if you had a Jalen Brunson, Giannis Antetokounmpo tandem, and if you have Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo with a winning attitude kind of a player, and you're probably going to have a couple of those other young players as well. I don't know which ones, because you'd have to give up probably half of them at least, but you would still have a few of them left over. I think you have a championship core with that group.
Yeah. Anybody else thoughts on that? And you could think specifically Giannis, or you could think Giannis and Embiid, or you could think any star player. Are you willing to give up? What's the best way for us to win a championship? Presently constituted, or giving up some of this depth for a high-level star and or superstar? All right, so Jeff, we'll go Delusional, Ajay, Jerrell.
All right. So for me, I think from my perspective, it's kind of tough, because I would like for this Knick team to kind of push through it and kind of be like a Detroit Pistons, and that year where they came through, played great defense, had Chauncey leading it, and you could sneak one. Just like last year was an opportunity to kind of sneak one if Julius was healthy, quick played up. So that would be the championship run that'll be talked about for years. But of course, that's not going to happen. That's in the past. So I would go all in on a Giannis trade, honestly, more so than a Embiid. I would give up Julius in that, because I don't think you can pair Giannis and Julius together. I'm keeping RJ in that mix. We probably have to give up Quick and just all that draft picks. With that, Tibbs, an organization, they can make something happen. And don't forget, you still got, the guy that got away and went to Cleveland, who still wants to be a Knick, which we still think it's a guarantee. And I wouldn't mind having Brunson and that guy in that backcourt with Giannis as well. And then you can fill in. Players will want to come to New York to play with that kind of lineup. So even though we're top heavy with giving away certain players and picks, somebody's going to want to come. You still have players out there now that can still potentially go to certain teams and make a difference, because they're waiting to see what's going to happen with certain things. So the Knicks can have that year if they do make a trade like that, and home run. It's a grand slam, actually. And that's a guaranteed championship if we stay healthy.
Wow. Okay. Any concerns about Giannis' lack of shooting, and you wanting to keep RJ, and RJ also is someone who lacks shooting? At least up to this point.
Good point, Queen. I definitely like that. No, more so it depends on how Tibbs run that offense. Obviously, we can't run the same offense that we have now. Giannis would like to have the ball in his hand because he likes to attack, have shooters around him, space the floor, and dish it. Yes, now that might be an issue with Barrett, but you can still switch the lineup certain way of where it can work. I still would like to keep Barrett. Barrett is not he would have to be a 3, and that's not a scenario, especially if we get Mitchell. So it's a tough situation, but I would still keep Barrett. I still think it'll run smoothly. The shooting wouldn't be as great from just one player, which is totally fine. You can utilize his talent elsewise, which is all up to Tibbs. It's all up to Tibbs, which is why I think we need to add an offensive coordinator in that coaching staff. But it's a good point, but I still think that'll be solid because we can get a spacing 5 that at least the paint is not clogged, so you have that attacking pockets. So, like I said, it's all how the offense run, honestly. Because same with Canada, you have Shea's not a great shooter, Barrett is not a great shooter, but they create space on the floor with Olenek being out there, being a spacing shooter, things of that nature. So they make it work with how they run the system.
Okay. Ajay? See if J Boogie is ready. Go ahead, Ajay.
All right. So I partially agree with Delusional. When one of these stars, and those guys are different caliber stars than Donovan Mitchell. They're like a little upper echelon. You have to go all in for one of those guys if they become available. And I would be willing to give up more for Giannis Antetokounmpo than I would for Joel Embiid, because of the quality of the player is. And like you said, Queen, he's proven in the past that he can do it. Joel Embiid hasn't done it yet, and by it being going all the way, but Giannis has done it. So this is a guy, it's obviously he's like, listen, Embiid is the MVP, or was the MVP this past season, but I mean, you look at him, you look at Giannis. If they tell you pick one of those, I think most people would pick Giannis Antetokounmpo because of his proven track record. Having said that, I think nobody's off the table except, in my opinion, except for Jalen Brunson. Anybody can go in the trade like that. Anybody, any amount of draft picks, any amount of unprotected. If Giannis becomes available, push all the chips to the middle table. Say, Milwaukee, pick whatever you want. Whatever's left, we'll make do of it. That's the way I would approach it.
Let me ask you this before we get to Jerrell, and then welcome J Boogie into the house. So they pick. Let's just say they took Randle and then 2 other players plus draft picks. So say because I don't think we're getting out of getting a Giannis or an Embiid with 2 players. And draft picks. I don't think that's going to happen. Damn. So let's say we got Randle and we got 2 other players, and we could pick two out of RJ, Grimes, Mitch, IQ, right, to go with Randle. You're not concerned about the depth, or are you feeling like we can make that up with other players?
We can definitely make that up with other players. I mean, because at this point, you're looking for role players, guys who do one thing and one thing only, right? Or 2 things, like one trick pony, guys so like you'd have a guy like Josh Hart, who his specialty is rebounding. So you'd have another guy whose specialty is just 3-point shooting. You know what I'm saying? You could plug in all these other guys. If you have a core of Jalen Brunson, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and let's say, I don't know, Quentin Grimes, or, somebody like, but you could make that up. You think, with moderate talent. You don't need super talented guys coming off the bench to make up for that. So we'll be fine.
Yeah, because I think that's what a lot of Knicks fans think about. They think about, we're going to give up all of our depth. What are we going to do? And the reality is, there's a pool of other players to draw from. You're going to have to sign somebody to those, roster spots. And when you look at the Lakers, they have max contracts in AD and LeBron, and they've still been able to put Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, or Hoochie Mama, as Charles Barkley said, D'Angelo Russell, Reeves. They've still been able to put. You can argue that they got 2 max players and their rotation is better than ours. You can argue that. I'm not saying that I agree with that, but you can you can argue that, and they have 2 maxes. Then you look at a Phoenix who has 3 near maxes and 8,
4.
right?
4.
And 4, right? 4 near maxes or near maxes, and obviously because they have 4, they have to fill their roster out with a lot of minimums, but they've been able to get quality minimum players, not like over the aging, off injured minimum players. They've been able. So the point is, other teams have done it. For Knick fans who are concerned that if we give up our depth, we're gonna have G League players, playing with Giannis and Brunson. It doesn't look like that's the case. Other teams have found a way to do it. Jerrell, and then we'll welcome Boogie into the building.
All right, cool. So the question is, like, is it just for Giannis or just any star?
Any star, superstar. Just a general question about, what's the best way for us? Stand pat with our guys, hope they grow into a championship contender, or if a star, superstar becomes available, trade that depth for that. What do you think will net us a championship?
I'm one of those people that actually think like superstars do win championships. Like, for the most part, when you do win a championship, you have stars on the team. I know a lot of people will bring up Detroit as the last team that won a championship that didn't have a superstar, but I wouldn't even really use them as a good example, because even though they didn't have a superstar, they did have a very, very good team. Like, there were multiple all-stars on that starting 5. And Ben Wallace was a Hall of Fame defender in the center. So, yeah, they had very good players on that team too. So I think you should definitely, if a superstar is available, whether it's Giannis or Embiid, if they want to be a New York Knick, that takes a lot. So that holds a lot of weight for me. Like, if a player of that caliber actually wants to be a New York Knick, do you go for it? Because I'm not exactly sure. Like, who are we? When you say give up our depth, that's like IQ. Some of the other players on the
Grimes, DiVincenzo, Hart, because we don't know who they would want.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's like Giannis or Embiid for few of them and a few draft picks, then yeah, you do it, because the focus is to win a championship. I know we are attached to these players, especially the ones that we drafted, but what if they don't pop and you're just wasting Brunson years and wasting Randle's years, whether you want him to be here or not? We got about a 2-year window before we start having to pay real money to these dudes. So yeah, if Giannis is available, Greek Freak is available, if they want to be a Knick, go get them.
Okay. All right. Boogie, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. My apologies to the show, to the concert, because we live in concert on Thursday night. I was in a draft. I was in a fantasy draft, and it just ended. So, and I was like, okay, let me get where I belong. But shout out to the Queen. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. So we talk about if we go get somebody, we give up these pawns, because we trying to play chess, right?
Right. What's the best way to win a championship? Staying pat the way we are, hoping these guys are going to develop, chemistry wise. Some of them are going to take a leap and will become championship contenders, or give up some of those depth if a star or superstar becomes available. I mean, of course, obviously right now, Giannis and Embiid is in the news, but it can be anybody.
To me, you got into the December, the play-in tournament, to let me know if you belong here or not, or if you can be a part of something that go in the package. But I'm not just gonna go and get anybody. And y'all speaking about right names, you know what I'm saying? When you talk about Embiid, you talk about Greek. Of course, any of them guys get like Dame Lillard, say y'all want up out of here, send me to New York. You got to go get him, especially the Greek. Don't even play no games with the Greek. You got to figure that out. And then after that, let Leon Rose figure out what he need to do, where he's going to be above the budget or under the budget, and then go figure out when he talk to James Dolan. But you got to go get a dude like MB. I mean, like a dude like Greek. I take MB secondly, you know what I mean? But depending on what I'm really giving up. But the Greek and Brunson, oh, no, I'm locking that in right there all the way. Because then you got Brunson can play on the side. And Greek can handle the rock, bring it up. It's so many things you can do with the Greek. But to win a championship, you're gonna have to have them type players to get you over the hump. You're not just gonna go into some of these other big game time players, arena and series, and beat them without one. You know, so sooner or later we're gonna have to make a decision. I like where we at right now. We got a lot of ways we can make a lot of moves. We still can develop. We can figure a lot of things out. But if Greek don't sign that paperwork and saying that, you know, I'm extended, hey, shots fired. Go get him. And I like the situation we in, because we got Dante. Dante, get on that phone. Let him know what it's like. Let him know what's going on. Aaron Rodgers, get on that phone. You know what I'm saying? Unless you feel like you still want to be the biggest name, you know what I'm saying, in New York, because Greek going to knock that off. I don't care nothing about the Jets. You let the Greek get in New York City, it's over with all that Aaron Rodgers, all that talk, all that deal. Get me the Greek, and we're going to show you something.
All right. I'm going to check in with the chat, but then I'm going to come back to the panel and ask you guys, do you think this front office can replenish the roster? Let's just say we had to trade a Randle and a Quickly and a Grimes, let's just say, and some draft picks, or Randle, RJ, Quick, whatever it is. Can this front office go out and find players that'll still make us championship contenders? Because you would think that we might be, at least I would think, we'll be a little weaker initially, right? Bringing in Giannis and taking out, let's say, 3 players out of our rotation. Initially, we'll be a little weaker, I would think. But do you believe that this front office can go out and get replacement players that can play those roles? All right? So you guys can marinate on that while I get to the chat. R. De La Cruz, appreciate you. Whatever Giannis costs, I don't want him. Rudy Gobert just went for 7 number 1 picks. I'm good with our depth. But this is my question I have for you, R. De La Cruz. Is this depth going to get you a championship? Because that's the question here, right? Do you believe that the team we have now, this year, next year, the year after, would be a championship contender? So we don't even need Giannis. Like, we're on that trajectory. I mean, that's the question. Knicks are nice. CAA Philly, appreciate you. Part of the replay gang. Giannis can't shoot. Oh, okay. Dirty Dancer.
Do a lot of other things though.
Right. But this is why it's so imperative, and this is what Milwaukee did. Shooting is a priority if you get Giannis. A priority. You can't shoot the ball, you can't be on the team. I feel like if you can't shoot the ball, you can't be on the team playing with Giannis. Because, like somebody said in the chat, you can build a wall around him. You could build a wall around him, and if you don't have, that's what Miami did. 4 years ago now, whatever it was, when they upset Milwaukee. That's what they did. And last year.
Right.
Antoine Jenkins, I'm good on Giannis. He can drop 45 and still lose. Just keep building. We almost went to the Eastern Conference Finals without a guy who makes $60 million a year. Listen, $60 million a year look like that's going to be the norm, and
that's going to be Brunson
in a few years.
Right.
Knicks is that 1-2 day? Knicks won today. Oh, Knicks won today. All right, I got it. Depth, chemistry, continuity. Nuggets last year. Which, hold up now. The Nuggets had The Nuggets had one of the best players, if not the best player in the entire league. So I don't know if you could say that keeping the Knicks together is similar to the Nuggets staying together. They got one of the best players in the league.
Not at all. And another all-star point guard to go with him.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon could be on any team and average 20.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I
I
actually
think that's
think
a little
that-
different. Go ahead.
I actually think if you pair Brunson with Giannis, that looks a lot more like Jokic and Murray than what we have now.
Yeah. I just, Giannis is getting better. At least now he's taking 3-pointers. At least now he's taking the pull-up jumper. He has to get better at it. But at least now he's taking it. But it is an issue. But they've constructed the team in such a way that Milwaukee is still championship contenders, despite the fact that their best player is not a great shooter. Yeah, okay. That was you, Knicks are nice. Giannis is easy to beat. Just build a wall. All right. Quiet Money. Appreciate you. As far as that top 1A player, Embiid is the one that makes the most sense. It wouldn't take as much as it would for Giannis because you can argue that he's not as good as Giannis. And the thing about Giannis, intangibles matter. He's always in shape.
Mm-hmm.
He always plays. He's not a load management guy if I'm not mistaken. So he always plays. He comes in shape and he's about his business. You see that even if he put that out just to, get the front office in gear, I think he was serious.
Yeah.
Going to have to build a team around me. You got Middleton aging. You got Drew Holiday saying that at the end of his contract, he may retire, that this the end of the 2024-25 season, he may retire. Giannis is like, I'm not signing an extension. What are you guys going to do? Who's going to be my point guard? What kind of team are you building, around me? Because I didn't play 10 and I feel like I got 10 more, years to go. What are you going to do? So Giannis, I get you in terms of Embiid. He's a better shooter. Embiid can shoot the three. Embiid can shoot the mid-range. I'm not taking anything. This guy's skill set is unbelievable. But Giannis you're going to get the intangibles with Giannis. Different players, totally different players. Coach, appreciate you. Go the Detroit route. But listen, like Jerrell said, do we have those type of players that Detroit had? A lot of times when you look at Detroit, you like, oh, they didn't have any superstars, but they had high-level players. And even those who were limited, think about Tayshaun Prince, who you could say was limited offensively. Defensively?
I think that's what we're missing, though, is a 6'9" defender with length like that. Honestly.
They don't grow on trees. That's because Tayshaun Prince was Tayshaun Prince. Like,
you got your Ben Wallace. We got our Ben Wallace for the most part.
No.
You don't have our Ben. You don't see Mitch.
Real quick, the starting five for the Detroit Pistons that year: Chauncey Billups, who was an all-star caliber point guard, right?
Yes.
Rip Hamilton, who was a multi all-star, played the two. At the three, Tayshaun Prince was known at the time maybe the best perimeter defender in the league at that point.
Yes.
4 was Rasheed Wallace, another multiple-time all-star. 5 was Ben Wallace. He ended up having more Defensive Player of the Year trophies than anybody in NBA history and went to the Hall of Fame. So that starting 5 is not a normal starting 5 that just won a championship.
No,
we are definitely not there yet. I don't think anybody on our team is at that level that they are then. Like, we would need like maybe another 3 or 4 years just to see if we could get to that point, because at their age, we're a lot younger than they were. Like, we're not there yet.
It's true.
Anybody else thoughts on that?
I think Brunson is better than Billups, but other than that, I get Jerrell's point.
At the time, I don't know if Brunson could do anything with Chauncey Billups, though, Jeff. Like at the time, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going that route. They don't call that man Big Shot for nothing.
Yeah,
By his business, you know what I'm saying? And he played both ends of the floor, and he was not. One thing I can say, both of them are not scared of taking a big shot. I will say that. But
that'd be a good matchup.
That was three lottery picks. You know, I don't know where Chauncey was picked, but I think Tayshaun was lottery, Rip was lottery, and we know Rasheed was lottery. And when
Chauncey
you talk about okay, that's even more. But when you talk about, you know, going the routes of some of these other teams, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put it into play, yo. We don't miss on our picks.
Yep.
All of them. But our last 4-5, we don't miss. That includes RJ too. We don't miss on our picks. So when you can't compare going the route like Denver, because they hit on their picks. You know, you got to hit on your picks, and if your picks are not hitting, you got to do the next best thing. You hope you can develop them, but if they don't develop and get to the point where you can go get a championship, you have to go do the next best thing. Because the way it's looking right now with Jalen Brunson on this team, we're not looking to get a top lottery pick, no top 5 pick, no time soon. I don't think so. You know, the team just, you know, we're at least that good. I don't think we're going to get no top 5 lottery pick and a type ball player that can come in here that's going to be a complete organization turnaround type guy, you know. So we're going to have to do something, but I guess we're still on the wait and see mode. But, hey, something need to happen fast, and it's going to happen before this year's out. Because like I always say, them guys ain't up under contract. This is the 4th year, all of them. Leon Rose, all of them. They going to make some moves to try to prove to keep their job. They desperate right now.
Right. And then the last one, I'm riding with Randle and Brunson for $30 million apiece. Sorry, fellas, trading the debt we built ain't worth it. It could be worth it if we get a championship out of it. I mean, that's the question. You know, that's the question on the
on
the table.
That $30 million apiece. What happens if we don't win in those 2 years though? That $30 million apiece might turn into 50. So what do you do after that?
Yeah. Angry Knicks fan, listen to the closer. We have to add elite talent to win it all. I mean, listen, if we stay pat, players would have to take a leap. Multiple players would have to take leaps for us to become championship contenders. You know, that's just the way it is. But going back to the question before I got to the chat, do you think it would be difficult for the front office to build a team around, let's say, a Brunson and Embiid, Brunson and Giannis, if you had to give up, say, 3 players out of this rotation? And it might be 3 players out the rotation, maybe 1 that's not in, like a McBride or a Sims, who knows? But do you think the front office could, find some back end talent to fill in the rotation?
Sure. I think they can. I mean, honestly, that's kind of should be in their job description. Like, you should be able to do that if you are Leon Rose at the position that he's in. If you get Giannis in here, obviously we need shooting. They have to have the wherewithal to know how to build around the superstar that they got, or they shouldn't have got him in the first place. So I think they should be able to do that. At least I would hope. Or if that's the case, then they're not. They shouldn't have been. You know, they shouldn't be in that position that they're in anyway.
Right. Salute, Freezy.
Freezy was good, bro.
Easy.
I'm only here to put a rock in AJ's shoe.
Of course. It's fun putting a rock in AJ's shoe because you can do it really, really easily. He gets mad fast.
Right. It must be a big shoe then. It must be a big shoe to fill. Right. Hey, salute everybody. Salute to all my people.
Salute.
Oh no.
How are y'all tonight? I'm hoping everybody is well.
Yeah. And for those who missed us in the neighborhood, Thursday 12. Tomorrow, 12
Tomorrow at
o'clock.
12.
I had some things to do today, but we'll be back tomorrow at 12. Freezy, weigh in on the original question, and then we'll get back to the front office. And that is, for this team to win a championship, what gives us the best chance? Waiting for this team to grow into championship contention, and I would think that some players would have to really pop, or giving up some of this depth, some of our rotation players for a star/superstar? That's the general question. Now that can be Embiid, that could be Giannis, that could be, somebody else. But the general question is, do you feel we got to give up some of this depth, or would you be willing to give up some of the depth in our rotation for a star/superstar?
That's a very layered and delicate question. With respect to the question, I'm gonna say that the team is on the path to win a championship without that star guy. Because you put a bunch of stars together, don't mean you're gonna win a championship.
Of course.
We've seen it before, and so what I would say is, in general, about any NBA franchise, I would go with answer A, with combine your depth, go get a star to put with a guy, and with some guys, and then work on winning a championship that way. But I'm gonna choose answer B because of the Gotham paradox, is what I call it. Things that work for other teams in the NBA doesn't necessarily work for the Knicks. I'm sorry if that seems as if I'm dodging the question, right? But what I would say is, continue to grow organically and wait for Grimes and IQ and some others to take the next step. But here's the thing. Here's the most important part of that, in my opinion. Don't overrate your talent because they wear blue and orange, right? Like, give them time to see what they have. If they don't show you anything in 3 or 4 years of being in a prominent role, you got to move on from them, right? Because before you know it, like, say, for instance, if you wait on RJ Barrett to pop, before you know it, Jalen Brunson's 30, right? So what I would say is, I identify it, keep building the same way, keep adding young talent to the roster, develop them in a way that you feel like is appropriate as the Knicks. Because truth be told, we tried other ways before, and it just doesn't work for us. It's like that weird Gotham paradox where if you put an Amari, a Carmelo, and a Tyson Chandler together, in theory, you feel like in an era of front courts, that should have been the best front court in the NBA. But then things happen where one guy gets hurt. Now another guy has to overcompensate for a guy that makes more money than him, right? And then now that guy's breaking down because he's carrying too much of the load. And then now the third guy in that thing who's exerting all the energy he has every night, now he's dissatisfied because, now he's been overlooked, and before you know it, it just doesn't work, right? So what I would say is slow and steady, right? And I want to chip, right? I understand, like, if you're Jerrell's age, like you 72, 73 years old, 74 years old, you want to chip right away before you kick the bucket. You know what I'm saying? I get it, Jerrell. I get, because Jerrell is only, Jay Boogie, Jerrell is what, only 20 years older than us? Like 20, 25 years older than us? I know Jerrell won a championship right now, but the thing about it is ultimately you have to add it. You got to get it out of the mud. You know what I'm saying? One brick at a time. You got Randle, and even though Randle is not the most popular piece, you know what I'm saying? Randle was the player that helped us pivot from being absolutely awful. And then 2 years later, you bring in Brunson, right? And then maybe next year or so, one of these young kids will pop. One of them will pop and become something. and then then you'll add another piece after that, and before you know it, we are the Denver Nuggets, where we get on a run and we win 2 or 3 championships, maybe go to the finals 3 out of 5 years by doing it the organic way. But by doing it the Brooklyn Nets way, right? By doing it the Brooklyn Nets way, and that's what it is. Go just trade for a whole bunch of stars, trade away your draft pick, just go get guys.
We're talking one guy though, Giannis. I mean, Freeze.
But
We're not talking about.
But you don't go get one guy if you don't already have other guys here. Like you're not gonna just, what I'm saying, consolidate.
But you don't. But we do.
Right, but I'm talking about Brooklyn. Brooklyn traded for other guys because they already had that guy in place already. Is what I'm saying. Like say for instance, when Brooklyn traded for James Harden, they already had Kyrie and KD.
I understand, but what I'm saying is we have Brunson. What's wrong with trading for someone like a Giannis? I think my slight pushback.
What are you going to trade? Okay, before you push back, what are you going to trade for Giannis? RJ? If you don't want RJ, what makes you think Milwaukee want RJ?
I would like somebody on the panel said, you can put them all in like an expansion draft, and the only person that I'm protecting is Brunson.
Right. Yeah.
The only person I'm protecting is Brunson. So you figured you're going to have to give up at least 3 players in that rotation. Randle, and then between IQ, Grimes, and RJ, those are the ones who have descending value, I would say, on the team. And then maybe they might want somebody out of the rotation.
Fournier contract too.
Or a Fournier. Again, this discussion wasn't about Giannis specifically. It was more about the idea of,
does it have to be an MVP level guy though?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are you giving up your depth for? But Freeze, I don't want to change the question. The question is depth versus star. Versus star. Are you willing to give up some of the depth for a star?
And I'm asking you the degrees of the depth versus the degree of the star is what I'm asking.
Okay. Star / superstar. High level star / superstar.
Right.
Yes.
So you're okay with giving up whatever depth it takes to get that high level.
I would give up 3 rotation players and a non-rotation player for Giannis. And this brings us back to the question before you came in. Do you trust the front office ability to be able to build out the roster, replace those guys if we gave them up? And then you can also argue, who are we replacing? Let's not act like, we have to go out. If we give up a Grimes, like Grimes is such an all-star, it's going to be so hard to replace him. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but is there somebody else out there who can shoot and defend? Right. When you talk about quickly, if DiVincenzo, and I'm not saying DiVincenzo is quickly, but I'm just saying if DiVincenzo is still on the roster, can he do some of the things quickly does? So in us giving up our depth, other than Randle, who Giannis would cover, for me personally, I don't think it's a tough call or a tough job for the Knicks front office to replace those players, because those players are not high-level players or peak. They haven't peaked yet anyway. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like we traded away.
Is she trying to be delusional Knicks fan? Is she trying to be super nice to me?
No, I'm not trying to be super nice, but I'm just saying. Do you think the front office could, if we gave up 3 rotation players and a non-rotation player for Giannis or Embiid or any other superstar, can the front office build a team around them? Would be able to replace those?
But Queen B, what I'm saying, what I can't register is if you're talking down about those guys, why would a team trade for them?
I'm not talking down about them.
No, like you said, Grimes is replaceable, and because think about it,
he is replaceable.
So why would Milwaukee take him if they could just go get him from anywhere?
Because they may see his ceiling. They may believe in his ceiling. They may believe that. So this is the difference.
Okay.
The Knicks would be looking to replace Grimes, say
Okay.
he went in a trade, for where he is right now.
Right.
Whereas Milwaukee would be banking on his ceiling, not just where he is right now. That's the
Okay.
difference. That's the
Okay.
difference.
I would just say though, the trading for a star thing, you just got to be careful. Will it work in New York? And when I say New York, it doesn't work here with the Knicks, and it hasn't worked for Brooklyn either. It just won't work in New York. We have 0 championships to show for either team trying that road, right? And then two, and two, the other thing about the Knicks is, if you're looking at what this front office is good at, so this front office is good at establishing a culture for young kids to come in and thrive. I mean, when you look at it, think about how many starters outside of RJ Barrett, look at where the cats on this roster were drafted. Outside of RJ, who was drafted 3rd, Brunson's a 2nd round pick. Grimes was drafted in the 20s. Randle drafted at 7. Okay. But Mitch is a 2nd round pick. Josh Hart was drafted in the 20s. DiVincenzo drafted in the 20s. Quickly drafted in the 20s. Right? Hartenstein. I think Hartenstein might have been undrafted, I think, or drafted really late. Right? They're good at finding like these gems, these diamonds in the rough, and polishing them up and then bringing them to Jake the Jeweler to make something fancy with it, right? But if we're asking this front office to get outside of what they normally do, which is that, and say trade for some stars or a star to consolidate talent, we haven't seen them show the ability to do that. If they could, we'd already have.
Well, not necessarily. Not well. That was different. The Donovan Mitchell. Had they known Brunson was him, I think they would have did that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they would have done that. But back to the question, because you basically said it. That's what the front office is going to need to do. If you give away some of your depth for a Giannis and to come over, you're going to have to find those diamonds in the rough,
right?
Which is what they've been doing.
Right.
You're going to need to find those DiVincenzos. You're going to need to find those Josh Harts. You're going to need to find those types of guys to fill in
after they
on the
get
roster.
Embiid, though. After they get Embiid
or whoever,
or Jokic,
or whoever. But I just want to go around the panel. Just your thoughts on the front office filling in the roster. Like, do you feel like that's going to be something tough to do? Like we've given up.
Can I answer first? Can I answer that first? Because I got to get out of here.
Okay, really quick, please.
Okay, so I think, to your question, I think they absolutely can do it and thrive at it. I think that's their wheelhouse. Now, if they are blessed, fortunate, lucky to get that guy, I think that second part that you just asked is right in their wheelhouse. Go find the supplemental players, the aftermarket players to come in and develop a guy or find the diamonds in the rough to put around that guy. But I'm out of here, y'all. The neighborhood, 12 o'clock tomorrow, noon.
Yep.
Me and the Queen Bee. I have a very sharp, large rock to put in her shoe to aggravate her. And guys, make sure y'all answer her questions, or she gonna come and get y'all. Queen Bee, thank you for having me. I'm out of here, okay?
Take it easy.
Just trying to stay focused.
Stay focused, y'all. Stay focused. All right, y'all. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right, peace.
Appreciate it.
Good night, Breezy.
Clean. I want to say something. Like finding diamond in the rough requires time to become a diamond, a valuable diamond. If we get a Giannis and we have Jalen Brunson, we don't have time to get diamond in the rough to develop them for them to become what we want them to become. We have to find somebody that's already of value that we could probably cultivate and put them in a position to do just what they do best and do it to complement these other guys. Because you get Giannis and Brunson, you don't have time to find diamond in the rough. That takes 5 years to become, which one.
Right. Yeah. I think I was hearing that as somebody that's been in the league who maybe hasn't popped yet. And then you bring them in and they just have a whole new lease, on their career, and they kind of popped in a certain way. Like I'm trying to like Huchamora, who was talented, but went to the Lakers and it seemed like his game went up a level. So
Like-
that's what I mean. Like guys like that who's in the league and
Jalen Brunson.
yeah, well, that's a big pop. That's an explosion. I don't know if we're gonna find that, but but do you think that's something that's doable, or we would be giving away so much that it'd be really hard to put a team around him?
Nah, Queen. I think it's easy. Similar to what the Lakers did when they brought in their general manager. I mean, their president, who was a agent, and look what they did, bringing in all the Rich Paul guys. So that's what the Knicks should do with CAA. CAA has a lot of NBA players. That his son is kind of taking over, and other guys that's under that umbrella. So if they do bring in these high talent players, you still have the area of New York, this livelihood. Then of course you could bring in those players. I still think they could bring in 3 guys, and that's just off of free agency alone. Like if you already have Giannis and Brunson, we got rid of a bulk of the cap to kind of make that work. A free agent is going to sign. And then, of course, you can like you said, fill in some more CAA clients, get some height, get some defense, get some shooting. Then we're able to get a second-round draft pick that you can find and mold just to kind of plug and play. Another Grimes, another Quickly. Mind you, these are guys that we knew they could play, but not to the extent that the Knicks believed, and they brought him in. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't expect Quick to have that explosive, that great on defense, being able to play defense like that. Josh Hart, we all knew Josh Hart can play defense, grab rebounds, but under that Tibbs system, it means even more. So, and then that plays a role as well. Tibbs, bringing in Tibbs type of guys. Maybe Tibbs can evaluate bringing certain players that he like to fit his system under that CAA umbrella. It'll work. You already got your 1A and your 1B. And you good. I think you only need 2 superstars on the team, honestly, and the rest of like solid, great role players to do it, and a potential all-star, like a player that can be an all-star, but of course, he taking a step back just to fit for that team.
Right, like Middleton or Drew Holiday, whoever you see as the number 2, that other 3 could be an all-star given the year.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? Do you think it would be, once we give up some of our rotation players, do you think it would be easy, hard to fill in those spots?
Well, I'm going to look at it this way, Queen, and maybe I'm off base, but this is the way that my confused mind works here. So I'm going to go ahead on a limit. I'm going to say we're going to give up 4 players. Okay. So we're going to give up 4 players, and we're going to get back 1 superstar. Okay. So right now we're playing a 9-man rotation with 2 guys kind of waiting in the wings in Sims and McBride, right? And so really you're talking about bringing in 2 guys at most, right? Mm-hmm. Because Brunson is still going to be here, and you're going to have the other, you're bringing in a new player that's your other superstar. And then of those other 7 players, you still have at least 3 of them. You still have at least 3 of them there, and then you've got 4 of them there, because you just figure, let's just say Randle is in Randle and Giannis are swapped places for that. So I don't think you're having to find that many guys, and I think we don't really necessarily see it and like it, but I think the organization really likes guys like Deuce and like Sims, and thinks that they can step up into those roles. And I think DiVincenzo and Hart are definitely here for the long haul, and those are definitely the type of pieces and the type of players that you're talking about the front office finding. I think that I didn't agree with everything that Freezy said, but I think that point he and I are in one accord, is that that's kind of this front office's wheelhouse. is finding those players. Where we have a criticism of them is that they were brought here to bring in the big name, and they've, they other than Jalen Brunson, they haven't really done that so far.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Good point, Jeff. Jeff said we would have to give up 4, and somebody else in the chat said, "Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, 4 or 5." Wow, that's a lot. Anybody else want to comment on, how would we build the team up if we had to give up some of our depth?
Well, I'm going to challenge Jeff a little bit and Freezy, saying that front office, that's what they're good at, finding those guys. I beg to differ. I mean, that's they brought in Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. We don't know what DiVincenzo is going to be for us, right? But then that's also the same front office who brought us Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker. Those are not guys who, came out to do, like, they came in and they actually cost us assets just to get rid of them. So I don't know that front office, that's what they're good at. They've done it a couple of times, but they've also messed up a couple of times. So we don't know. Like, to me, they're like right in the middle. They may be able to do it, but then we don't know.
Well, I don't think we can expect front office perfection. I'll agree with you certainly on the Kemba and Fournier fronts, but I think you're also ignoring the fact that they brought in Quickly and Grimes as well. And I think those are both excellent rotation pieces.
Oh yeah, but those are drafting.
Well, but it doesn't matter if it's a draft pick or if it's a free agent signing. All you're looking to do is fill out the roster with a couple more guys. It doesn't matter how you get them. I mean, in other words, it's fine if you find a guy. If you find a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, that's not any different than finding a guy like Josh Hart. It doesn't matter where you dig them up, as long as they can fill the role that you need them to play.
Again, half and half. I mean, I'm not looking for perfection, but half and half. They also drafted Trevor Keels. They also drafted what's the kid from last year that I don't know, the Spanish kid. I forgot his name.
Surprised you didn't bring up Obi.
Yeah, a bunch of buses, man.
Well, those were just like salary fillers.
Right.
Well, Obi might still turn out to be something, so we don't know.
Yeah, but he's not going to turn it up here.
That's true. That's true. But so Jeff, I mean, I'm not looking for perfection, but we can't say like that's what they're good at. I don't know that, because they're good at the other stuff also.
Yeah.
Boogie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, if we look to make a move on somebody like Giannis, I want to do that in you know what I'm saying, when the season is over. So you got your chances right now. They're in the same bracket. Every time you see Milwaukee, you need to be trying to bust their head. That's what you need to be trying to do. Let Giannis know something, But the thing is, I have to continue on getting back to the office, because that's where it's at. Because the office is not going to sign a deal and use their first 3 years to draft guys and develop guys and then look for a new contract and go into a second contract to go back into drafting and developing guys. These guys want a new contract, and they don't want the developing way. And right now, to their point of view, they haven't won nothing. They looking to figure out how can they put something together to go into season number 5 up under their contract, knowing that they can fight for a championship. This is what the office has to do if they want their job. This is what the office has to do to impress James Dolan. Right now, we did okay this year, but James Dolan is looking for this team to do better than what it did last year. And you're going to have to make different type moves to knock on that man's door and say, this is what it is. Now we need to go fill in the gaps and the pieces and everything. You have to impress James where he might be okay with going over the salary cap. But right now, them guys already don't spend their contract developing. So they don't want to develop no more. They need players that's going to help them get some more money. And that's what it's about right now. I need players to help me get some more money. And those players right there need to help us try to win a championship. Because I can't ask for another contract, and I'm still developing. And I'm not getting no top lottery picks, but I do feel like out of the two scenarios, because we seem like we're talking about Embiid and Giannis, I believe we can build further around build further around Embiid and Brunson, because Embiid can do a little bit more than what Giannis can do as far as shooting and getting buckets and everything. Even though Giannis is going to play bully ball, but Giannis, wants to really play point guard. Giannis wants the ball in his hand, and he knows that Holiday he can't really play and put on like he wants to without the ball in his hand. And his other man, Militant, is pretty much the same way. So if you go to Giannis route, you're gonna have to make sure you, like Queen said, go ahead and get these guys that can shoot, catch, and shoot, ain't straight knockdown shooters, so the floor continue to be open. But over there in Milwaukee, he's telling them, yo, if this don't work with these guys again, hey, I'm probably going to be looking to do something else, because you wouldn't spend all that extra money with these guys knowing I need the ball. I need to be dictating the offense. That's what he was created. He was created to see the floor by Jason Kidd. That's what dominated and elevated his game to a whole nother level. When he learned how to be a point general on that floor, you know what I'm saying? Handling a rock. Now he can't shoot like he would like to be able to shoot, like how you would want him to shoot, but he can't see that floor. And if that floor, you just imagine if he over there with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and shooters like that, you know what Giannis going to do to that paint? He's going to kill anybody that's in front of you. You can't stop him because you can't leave. You can't help. You can't do nothing because he got them dead-eye shooters. So we would have to get dead-eye shooters to have Giannis over here, and Brunson probably be one of them guys that you could turn into a catch and shoot because he's used to doing that. He did that with Luka. But the office is looking to make a move. Whether we going to like it or not, or we going to give up too much, or we ain't going to give up enough, whatever it is, half the fan base is not going to be happy, and the other half of the fan base is going to be like, all right, and then the other fan base that didn't like it, they'll sooner or later catch up and be okay with it. Because if you put Greek inside that building, I don't care what people talking about, all these draft picks, we ain't going to trade up, you're going to lose your mind. You're going to feel like you're going to win something. You're going to feel like you got a shot, a chance. But right now, this right here lets me know we might can beat a couple of teams, but can we eliminate everybody in the East with what we got? I don't know. And you got to have luck on your side. This was the best chance scenario for us this season. And we missed out on it because guys haven't developed in where they can make shots. It couldn't have been no more lucky a draw than what we had this year. And we missed out on that. It was made for us. I think we would have beat Boston. That's how I feel. It was made for us to go ahead and all these teams that won't in the way. Milwaukee won't in the way. And only thing we knocked off Cleveland, all we needed to get by was Miami. It don't get no luckier than that. If it does, thank God. But right now, y'all keep sleeping on Leon Rose. Leon Rose ain't playing. I need a check.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point in the sense that they're up for a contract extension.
Yep.
They should try to go and get it now after coming off that 4th seed and that upset of Cleveland and 2 games within the Eastern Conference Finals. Because if you can argue that we went to the second round because of the draw, because we drew Cleveland. What if we would have drew another team? Maybe we get out the first round, maybe not. So it's gonna be, this season is gonna be super interesting. Quiet money. Why would the Bucks take Randle when it would be time to rebuild? That's a good question. And the Knicks would need to reroute him somewhere else.
Yeah, they gotta make the money match somehow, though.
Yeah. They would have to reroute him. I can't see Randle and Embiid playing, playing together. I mean, I guess if you put Embiid at center, Yeah, possibly.
They can play together. He playing with Tobias. They can play together.
No. Giannis. I meant Giannis.
Oh, you talking about Giannis?
I meant Giannis and Randle.
Yeah, that would be up to him if he would want to play center. They're not gonna make him play center if he don't want to.
And he's not gonna be a stretch center.
Right.
So his guy gonna be right there in the lane too, because you don't need to,
Right.
So
that's why I switch up. That's why I switch and blow the whole thing up. I'm taking Mitch, I'm taking RJ, I'm taking Grimes, and about 4 of those picks, and send Lopez over here with him. That's what I'm doing. You can't have Giannis and Mitch.
That ain't I didn't even think about that too.
Absolutely not.
So let me get that guy that can stand out there and shoot them trays from anywhere on the floor.
You know what? You're right. If the guy is Giannis, and again, we're talking in generalities, but because of what Giannis just said, he's coming up the most. He would have to change the complexion of our entire team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't think he can play with Randle. I don't think he could play with Mitch. I don't think he could play with RJ. I just don't think you can have a guy. I know Delusional disagreeing with me. I don't know if you can have guys who can't shoot around or can't shoot very well around Giannis.
I think he can play with Randle. He'll just have to play the 5. Yeah. They can. Let's just say we had Jalen Brunson, Randle, and Giannis on this team. How much are you complaining?
I think that team is easier to stop in the playoffs, though.
With at least 2 more shooters on the wings, because Randle, he's not a knockdown shooter, but he can still shoot.
Yeah, that's true. You have to respect him.
You have to respect him.
He's a good shooter.
Yeah. Keith Turner, Brunson, and Randle are in their prime. We don't have 3 or 4 years to wait. JJ, it's about helping Brunson, not about waiting for all the young players. I think this was probably in response to what Freezy was talking about.
Yeah.
Nick Yak, we don't need a blockbuster, but if the freak takes less, so we keep our best and fill lineup with what first we will, that's not happening. Like it doesn't even matter about if he wants to take less. It's about the Milwaukee Bucks.
Exactly.
A small market team that's not going to be able to attract free agents. They want to make sure that they get a lot of draft picks because that's basically how they're going to build out their team in a small market, right?
Right.
They're probably going to want a lot of young players who they think have a higher ceiling, a IQ, a Grimes. I don't even know if they would want our RJ, and his contract. To Quiet Money's point, they may not even want Randle. If the Knicks don't see Randle as a fit with Giannis, they may have to redirect him, to another team. Giannis, you pretty much has to change. You have to change so much about this roster if you bring him in. But let me ask you this question: if Randle plays in the playoffs similar to how he's played last season, do we even need a Giannis? If Randle, would you have 2 stars? Let's just say Brunson continues to perform the way he did in the playoffs. Randle starts performing in the playoffs the way he does in the regular season. Do you even need a Giannis? Or do you just focus then on building a more experienced team around those guys? Because personally, I think I would still. I know the tomatoes are coming. But the same players that we said would go in a Giannis trade, I would still be looking to upgrade those players if next season Brunson and Randle prove to be those guys, because those other guys ain't ready. I just feel like I think they still 1, 2, maybe even 3 years left to reach their ceiling. And maybe you can have one guy that you're going to keep on the team. Like Philly had Maxey. Maxey hasn't reached his ceiling, but they have one guy on the team. I think Denver may have one young guy. So I don't know. That could be IQ. I just don't think you can have 2 or 3 of them, and you're waiting on them to take the lead if Brunson and Randle become those guys. So yeah. So that's the question. If Randle and Brunson become those guys, do we even need Giannis?
Name some name queens. Who's the first person you'd be looking to upgrade?
Well, I'm looking to upgrade. Welcome back, Delusional. You know, you're one of my faves. I appreciate you always with the sharp analysis. But I'm looking to upgrade that 3 spot right now. And RJ Barrett doesn't even have to be traded. He could just be on the bench unit if we were able to do that. But definitely that. I would be looking to upgrade Grimes only because if Randle is that in the playoffs, that accelerates the championship window. And Grimes just doesn't seem ready to me to be that type of guard on a championship contending team. But hey, he may take that leap this season and be that. But those would be the 2.
Yeah, we need upgrades. And if we do get an upgrade at 3, I think RJ got to go. He can't be on the bench. He make too much money.
I agree.
Like he make almost what 20.
AJ agrees regardless of the money, but go ahead.
No,
Right. Yeah, like he making almost $25 million a year.
$5 million a year.
Yeah, so he got to go. So yeah, he will have to go. But yeah, I'm all for upgrades. We talked about that before. I don't think we need Giannis to have upgrades. Giannis will obviously be the upgrade, and we'll have to, form the roster around him. But even if we don't get somebody like that, if our young players don't pop this year, like we always say, we got about a 2 to 3 year window with Brunson and Randle. 2 years, really. So we have that window to do something. Like I think next summer is the summer. Like we have to do something. If they don't think like our young players are going to pop, like we have to. Or in that case, we're just, I don't know, it's like almost insanity at that point. We're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, getting the same result. So I think we do need upgrades.
Okay.
I mean, to answer, so Queen, regarding that, it's kind of tough, but yes, if Randle can give me 20, 25, 10, and 5 in the playoffs, and we at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we lose in that instance, I'll run it back with Julius. Because that's multiple rounds that you're playing at that high level, that's showcasing that you can put up that numbers. This is what we've been waiting for to see. I'm running it back one more year. That's it. One more year, see what we can do, and then try to make some moves. At that point, I don't know who to move. Like I said, small forward would be that spot to kind of fill. But then it's like, what else do you do? Do you put RJ back to his original 2 guard position and let him play 2? And then you bring in some. So it's really up to the organization to kind of figure out where they want to implement in place. Donovan Mitchell, will he come as a free agent? And will the Knicks actually bring him in as a free agent, do a sign and trade and see who they want to give up? I don't know. But that's a lineup I would like to look into with two pure shooters in Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. You still keep Mitch as that defensive anchor. Randle, we keep Randle, see if he can play. So they have options. That's the great position that we're in right now, is we have options to make moves, whether we want to stay and play it out or we try to make a trade. And that's what I think the organization put us in that position. So when it's time, it'll come. And they have something planned. We like to play this juggle piece here and there. They have something planned. Like they are really playing chess out there. We're playing checkers as Knicks fans, saying who we want. They know the bigger picture because there's a reason why they do these ascending contracts or specific years of having Brunson here, have this guy extend 2 more years. So they know what they're doing. We just got to wait and see what's the end goal.
Right. Shot legacy. Randle is a top power forward in this league. His position is not in need of an upgrade. We have holes in this roster that need to be addressed. No, I would agree with that. But when a Giannis becomes available, you can't just be like, oh well, we got Randle. I mean, look at Boston when KD became available. They didn't say, oh, we got Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, it was ready to send them out.
They was like, yo, this is an opportunity. And Jaylen Brown, you can argue, is one of the best shooting guard league, right? He's a two-way player. You can put him at shooting guard and small forward. But for KD, it changes things. And I think that's the same thing for us and Giannis. So I agree with you. It's not a position you are looking to upgrade. But if a Giannis becomes available, you have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on this? Anything else on this topic?
Nah, just pray and hope we make the right decisions going forward as far as trade wise, and pull the plug when it needs to. You know, I do commend us for holding off on the Donovan Mitchell trade, because then we got to see what a full Knick team without giving out all the assets can do. And we just need Randle, man. Playoff time. Playoff time. We need players to just step up during playoff time, really.
I don't know, Delusional.
Yeah, you said
I don't know.
You taking
because
they did a good thing by not getting the trade?
Because
I said they did a good thing without doing the trades, without giving all the assets. Because remember, they wanted a ton of situations when we realized what they wanted. So, and I said we got to see what Brunson and the team can do as a whole going forward. So now the Knicks know their wealth. They know what they have and what they can move now. Like if we would have gave up everything for draft picks and all that, we wouldn't be in the position that we're now, as far as like to try to go and get an additional player to pair them with Brunson. We wasn't thinking Brunson was going to do this. And I think if we would have brought Mitchell, he probably still wouldn't have done it to this magnitude, because Mitchell would have been that front runner.
Perhaps because he's with Randle, though. Randle's taking a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Too. This is what I'll say, Delusion. I'll let Jerrell go. What we found out without Donovan Mitchell is that we needed a Donovan Mitchell. because in the playoffs, IQ wasn't ready.
Right.
Grimes wasn't ready. You know, and that's where we found out that they weren't ready. But anyway,
but then this is a good thing now, because we could potentially get him in free agency without
potentially
sending out anything.
That's true.
But what did they want? I thought finally we found out from Donovan Mitchell that what they wanted was RJ Barrett and a ton of picks. Isn't that what the final thing was?
No, wasn't it like Grimes? Grimes.
Okay.
I shot Grimes to Cleveland for Spider.
Yeah, no, I would have done that, but
yeah, I'd have did it. I would have rather just have the unknown in the back of my head what my young guys would have did. I would have preferred Spider, but I get it though. It wasn't the end of the world. We obviously still ended up being a good team, the youngest team in the playoffs. So it's not like it was, I think the front office should be fired because they didn't do the trade, but I would have done it personally myself. I'm not gonna lie. I would have did it.
Leon was just at the poker game. He just came in there with $500, and every time he lost, he thought it was cool to just go out to the car and go get some more money. And while he was out there at the car, that's when Cleveland swooped in and did what they had to do. Leon thought nobody else was going to make a move for Donovan. You know what I'm saying? And he got caught slipping, But the thing is, it worked out for us only because we had a good season and only because we beat Cleveland. Let us not made the playoffs or anything like that. You was going to hear about it with Leon not making that trade with none of them guys for Donovan Mitchell. The only thing that saved us was because we had a good season and we knocked them off. So then it gave a lot of fans an opportunity to say, oh man, we was better than Donovan and they had Donovan. And I was one of the ones that was saying that too. So I ain't gonna leave myself up out of it. But if we'd have lost, If we had a bad season last year, if we'd have came and had a season last year like we had the year before,
Been ugly.
man, they was going to go crazy. That's why I know the office is not going to miss out on another opportunity to go and get somebody when they can go get somebody, because they don't want us to look at these guys that's not developed again all over again. The only one I give a break to is a small break is Grimes, because he never been in this situation. He never been in a playoff. But quickly, you've been there before against Atlanta, so you was experienced. So, I don't know what the situation was going on with you, and you had a good matchup going in the playoffs through everybody you was playing against, Mitch, I can't blame so much on Mitch because he didn't play in Atlanta series. But what happened to your hunger? If you took out two of the top dudes in Cleveland, he's supposed to have been hunger. You know that I'm putting these dudes in the lock down here in Miami because they ain't got nobody for me, But hey, it's never here nor there. But Boogie won a championship. I want to see what it feel like to even to be in it. Forget winning a championship. Oh, how long has it been since since it's been over 50 years? 50 years of hip hop, over 50 years since we won the championship. It's 25 years since we even played in the championship. I want to at least smell the championship. Get in there.
We back there with Rappers Delight the last time we won this.
That's way before Rappers Delight.
Way before Rappers Delight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Our trophy is older than hip hop.
Older than hip hop. 50-year anniversary of the trophy.
You just made me sad, yo. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Shout out to Dwayne Dennis. Queen Stephanie. Okay, everyone is missing the most important part. We have to do something with all of these draft picks we have. Why are we saving them for? Go and get what we need. Period. Yeah. And I feel like the better we get, the value. I mean, listen, it's still a first round pick, but now it's a late first round pick.
Right.
The better we get, now it's a late first round pick.
And we ain't gonna draft them dudes anyway.
But I think, chat let me know. I think now, like, the draft picks was a real big deal a few years ago. Oh, we can't put in that many draft picks. We can't, because I think we were just thinking, like, those are players we can draft that could become somebody. Now we see that the Knicks really don't value them in a way we value them in terms of picking. They value them in terms of trading them, getting off contracts and things of that sort. So, chat, are we still tripping about attaching draft picks, or are we over that? If the Knicks go after Giannis or Embiid or Donovan Mitchell or Dame, I hope not, and they put 4 first-round picks, are we still tripping over the picks? Let me know in the chat.
I would guess that Ajay would think that we're not going to draft anybody because of Tibbs' rotations. Like, we're not going to use any draft picks.
That's true. That's true. He's not going to play them.
Yeah, even this past year when we didn't have a pick, and a lot of people thought we was just going to, buy a pick or try to get a pick, in the 11 o'clock hour in the draft. I knew we wasn't going to draft anybody because they weren't going to play anyway. Like, I don't see it.
We discussed that was, we discussed that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, all of those picks that we have, we're not going to draft them. And if we did, we're going to trade them.
I still would like us to fill up the back end of our roster. And I know, certain guys on the panel is really high on McBride and Sims. They're okay to me. But you look at these other players, these other teams, they have players on their bench with higher ceilings. I just would like the Knicks to just I just feel like they don't value those guys. Like in the draft, we had an opportunity to get, what was the Johnson kid from Duke who fell?
Jalen Johnson.
To the Knicks. I'm like, oh, we got like a fart in a dust storm, just gone. we didn't even look at him. Miami got, what's his name? Jovic. Yeah. Dallas got
I was big on him. Yep.
Who did Dallas get? The not Hardy. Green. Hardy. Dallas got, these guys may not play for a year or two or whatever, but that they have higher ceilings on your bench. And that's the only, not the only, but one of the criticisms I have of the front office. I get it. You're trying to win a championship now. But even those playoff teams, even those championship teams, they got really good young players that's in their system, learning their system. And listen, I like McBride and Sims, hardworking guys, hard-nosed guys. I still would like to have guys with higher ceilings on those on the BJ Boston. I'm not saying he would have become, anything,
Like BJ.
but take a swing, bring him in, have him on your bench, have him in your program. See, stuff. That's my only thing. That's my only thing with the Knicks.
Well, you
Steph,
got to get
Run off
approval from Tibbs, though.
we drafted Jalen Duren and we wanted us to draft him, and we traded him.
Right.
He had like a 20 and 20 game this past season at like 19 years old. So yeah, they don't value these young dudes. They're not going to play, and they know Tibbs is not going to play him. So
But that's okay. Have them, but you can't have them as your super situational guys like that you're bringing up, so that when you do have a trade, they're already in this. Miami is already talking about what's his name, Jovic. That's what they do. They draft these higher end, just keep them in the back. They get them out the G League too. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes they'll take a guy with a hit or miss ceiling, get them in their system. They lose some guys. Next man up. Next thing you know, they're in the rotation. I would like to see the Knicks do.
This past draft, they got the kid from UCLA.
Right.
Like that's another piece that they're like, that boy is gonna kill us, man. He's a good player, and they got him at the back end of the draft.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. That's all I would like to see the Knicks do.
Miami got them type people that can be over there ready for them guys to come in and develop them and show them the way and what it is. But we don't have them type guys. Tom ain't got time to be developing a lot of guys.
Right.
You need to when you come in and you get on the team with Tom coaching, Tom needs you to be ready now. I don't have time to develop you. I got a coach, and I ain't got nobody down there. Look, y'all see down there? I'm looking way down in my closet. That's what our benching staff look like. Ain't nobody down there to develop. Nobody.
Just
you know what I'm saying? We could have done some things. You could have went and got Melo. You could put Melo assistant coach. Do something. I want the roster to be good too, but we can't leave out that bench. Right. We got to get the coaching staffs right too.
100%.
We got to get that right.
The two best coaches on the bench left.
Huh?
The two best coaches that we had on the bench left and got head coaching jobs in college.
Yo, the best. And Leon hired them guys. Tom ain't come here with nobody. It took Tom. You can't bring nobody. Just bring yourself. I'm gonna pick everybody. That was Leon.
Don't even pack your bags. We got clothes
on
for
our
you when you
coaching
get here.
staff is part of Tibbs' old team now, though. I think that's the issue. That is the big issue. Like, there's nobody to challenge Tibbs because everybody is just men for him on that coaching staff. He got Dice running the what's the name, the summer league.
Yep.
I'm like, why not give that to what's the guy everybody wants to replace Tibbs right now? Bryant, right? Let's see what Bryant could do. I have no
Johnny
idea.
Bryant is probably too high up to coach the summer league.
No, I get that, but my thing is, so we don't know what Johnny Bryant as a coach can bring to the Knicks.
No.
Yeah,
we don't know. So I'm like, that's an opportunity. I would do that so I can showcase the league. Like, yo, I can coach.
Right.
Like my summer league team running through everybody. I mean, if I was him,
I don't know what Johnny Bronny would have done with this summer league team, but I hear you. Yeah, but I hear you.
Yeah,
but we don't know his coaching style, what he likes, what he don't like. Use a player development coach. I get that, but
that's what most assistant coaches though, right? Around the league, that's what most assistant coaches.
I guess it depends. Like if it's an assistant coach that used to play, like we kind of not know exactly what his coaching style is, but the ones that played before, we kind of know their personalities. Like Sam Cassell with Philly, I know that he's a good assistant coach. Like you could tell, he was a coach on the floor when he played. I know nothing about Johnny Bryant or what he does. So
exactly.
But did anybody see the Rondo interview that recently came up? Was when he was playing and how he approached it as being the coach on the floor. Like an assistant coach with that mindset changes everything on your team, because it's that IQ. He would have a player in the right position, those teaching moments. We try to do that with Julius, so you saw what he did to those assistant coaches. So you definitely need some type of player like that on the bench as an assistant coach. That alone could bring this team to the next level.
Right.
Wow.
That's why they usually like point guards. We brought up Chauncey Billups earlier.
Yep.
Like he was one of the best, IQ wise point guards in the league at one point as he got older. Like it took him a long time to develop too. Now he's a head coach in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it usually takes, players like that. And I think Rondo, much as I didn't like him as he played, he probably will be a very good head coach.
Oh, phenomenal. Sheed would be an awesome coach to have down as well.
She not leaving. She is not leaving them high school kids where he at.
Yeah, no, he definitely not.
I know that for a fact. He loves appreciate rocking with them kids more than anything.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
Nah, man. It's after 11. You know how I get.
Yeah. So we're gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna ask you what's your top 5, and if you don't have 5, because I don't have 5, your top 5 NBA players and
now?
why? Yeah, right now.
Well, no, all time. Like you.
All time. Oh, I see. I thought you meant, are we answering the question now? Yeah, all time. It don't have to be 5 current. I don't even have 5.
Or 5 of the best. Nothing.
At basketball, and one of my favorites is not even an NBA, basketball player, but not an NBA basketball.
Got you.
Player.
That makes sense.
Geoff, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, Bernard King is what got me into my Knicks fandom, and he's still in my top 5. What he did in 1984 will forever be etched in my memory. And along with King, Patrick Ewing, I loved the big fella. Number 33, just that turnaround baseline jumper 18 feet away was automatic. The defense, his knees having ice packs on him after every game for like 20 years, and just an Iron Man. I mean, everything about Patrick I loved. It still breaks my heart that we never won a championship with him. I love Ewing and King are definitely my 2 all-time favorites. Magic Johnson, I love Magic, man. People want to have the argument about the best player of all time. I always bring up Magic because he could play all 5 spots on the floor. Nobody's had the floor vision of Magic Johnson. The guy was unbelievable. I mean, you better just be ready for the ball wherever you at, because he gonna get it to you, whether you're ready for it or not. I mean, just the court vision, the intelligence, and the work ethic. He knew Bird was shooting 500 shots a game, so I'm shooting 1,000 shots a game. So Magic is definitely in my top 5. The glove is another one. Gary Payton. Man, I love that defense. Payton was just a dog, man. I mean, I wish if the Knicks had Gary Payton, oh my. I just love watching that guy play. A solid point guard, but defensively, when he was with the Sonics, man, he was fun to watch. That's my brand of basketball. I mean, I really liked him. And for my 5th one, I think I'm going to go a little bit of high flying action. Dominique Wilkins. Nick was sweet, man. Nick was awesome. I mean, he had such a pretty game. I mean, just the aesthetic value. I mean, he never really won anything, but man, he had some battles with Bird and with Jordan, and I hated Bird and Jordan, so I was always rooting for Nick. And so I loved watching, man, and the dunks that he could do, and just the things he could do acrobatically in the air. He and Dr. J are the 2 original high flyers as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that's my top 5.
Nice.
All right. Jerrell?
Okay, I go first. I mean, well, go second after Geoff. Good list. I grew up, even though I'm from Brooklyn, I grew up a huge North Carolina fan. Like my whole family's from North Carolina, so a lot of my top five is like college basketball related. But as much as I was a North Carolina fan, my favorite player has never been like Michael Jordan. Growing up, I had like a love for Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was everything to me growing up, like growing up like as a toddler in the early 80s, seeing Showtime and stuff. Like even though my, roots was New York and I was a Knicks fan growing up, Magic Johnson was still just everything to me. Like I was trying to do no look passes before I knew how to do regular passes that I look right at you. So like and then after that, growing up as a teen, because I liked Magic Johnson so much and I was a big college basketball fan, after Magic, my preteens and teenage years starting to get into the Penny Hardaway era. 6'7", pretty much was called like the athletic Magic Johnson of his time, just because he was tall and could pass the ball and can do everything on the court. So Penny became like my second favorite basketball player growing up. After that, because of my North Carolina roots, it was Rasheed Wallace. He was the person, and I kind of grew up fast. Like I ended up being like 6 foot, like sixth grade. So I always played center, even though I was short, regularly short. But for my age group, I had to play the center. So Rasheed Wallace was the person that I pretended to be growing up on the playground. After that, another tall person that can pass. Think about when he came out of high school, had the 1 year in college, and when he first came to the NBA, my fourth player was Lamar Odom. He was another tall, lanky, 6'10". Even though he played small forward, he had all guard skills. And me and him graduated the same year. So that was the class of 97. So like everybody, all the high school players and college players like around that age group, like I just love college basketball at that point. Then after that, my last one, and since he's been into the league, he has been my favorite player, is Steph Curry.
Okay.
And I actually started liking Steph when he was in Davidson. Again, big North Carolina fan. He killed us. Killed us his sophomore year. We played Davidson because we played them pretty much every year because it is in North Carolina. We used to kill them every year until he got there. And that first night when I saw him, like I knew he was Del Curry's son, and he ended up going there, but he just really didn't pop till his start, like his sophomore year. So that is when he killed us and shot the lights out. And he's become my favorite player, and his story and how he came up ever since then. So that's my starting five, or five favorite players, I should say.
Okay. All right. I see. We play a musical panel.
That's what I wanted to ask. Well,
Go ahead. You could go, Boogie.
I wanted to ask if it's your favorite five or
your favorite. Yeah, let me change it to your favorite. It's your favorite.
Yeah, favorite. It don't gotta be like who you thought was the best in the league. Anything.
Correct. Right.
Like who was your man's back in the day, or woman if it's woman player, because Jerrell Swoops was nasty. Like I used to have like girls in my high school used to act like they were Jerrell Swoops. Like she was big, in my age group coming up.
Nah, Tamika
she's on my list.
What you say, Delusional?
Catchings. Tamika Catchings.
See, my Shamika Holdsclaw.
Yeah, Shamika Holdsclaw.
She was
too.
nasty, man.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all didn't rock with Cooper?
Yeah, Cooper was nasty.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
she was nice too.
Cooper nice too.
Calling her the female Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, Jerrell Swoops, all them when she was at Texas Tech. I remember when she was in the in college. Yeah, the girls used to rock too.
Yeah. Boogie, it's on you.
Yeah, all my guys are guards. Every one of my guys is guards. Now the first guy that I liked and rock with that played in the league. He wasn't one of the greatest or best or whatever. But the first guy that really like made me want to really get into the basketball and really try to imitate was Dennis Johnson. Because I learned watching Dennis Johnson play against us, them late games, 10:30, Ray Williams, Michael Ray against Ray Williams. I mean against Gus Williams and Dennis Johnson. Gus Williams and Ray, they were brothers, But Dennis was different, he was a guy with freckles. I never in my life seen a dude with freckles. I was a little kid, the dude with freckles, red hair. He had the knee pads on both his knees, and he had wristbands on both his wrists, And I just took a liking to, that was his new gear. So when I started coming up playing the midgets and the biddies, I had to have my moms, go buy me some knee pads and the wristbands. I had to be like Dennis Johnson, but Dennis, may rest in peace. He don't get enough credit about his game. That's the first guard to ever that won championship in the West and the East, playing the same position. He won it with Seattle and he won it with Boston. Larry called him, he's probably the best player he ever played with. My second best player, I was in Gershwin Park when he rebounded and took one bounce and fired from one side of the court to the other court, and the dude that won't even play and yelled out, "Yo, he's shooting from another world." I'm talking about Lloyd Free. And actually that's how he got his name. He the following season his name became World Be Free. He changed it from Lloyd and he put World on them Nikes, in the parks. And if you ever played in the Gershwin Parks back in those days or been in there, the courts was really small, but to me, it was crazy to see a guy grab a rebound, take one dribble and just raise straight up and just pull from one side of the court to the other court, bottom, so and then I got Mike, of course. Mike changed the league, baggy shorts. God bless my moms. My moms bought me the Jordans, the shorts, all that, Michael Jordan, and then Magic Johnson. That was like the motion picture movie that I seen. I was there. My moms had took me to see Magic Johnson when he came to the Garden, and that's the biggest thing that I seen running up and down the court, yelling all the time, and I mean hitting passes and pushing the rock. It was man, to watch Magic Johnson was just so amazing. And then my last guy, that's Kobe, man. I just Kobe, man, Kobe, Kobe just meant so much to the game and done so much to the game and for the game and after the game, and his name, his legacy is still carrying on to the game right now, and we all say people, passed way before their time, in a lot of situations. It ain't gotta be just sports, it can just be in real life, man. But Kobe is one of them guys, man, that could have been still here helping a lot of them guys, man, and guys really appreciated being around Kobe, man. I never forget when I was locked up, I was doing my time, and my peoples, they were sending me magazines, and I had an Ebony magazine. He was on the front of it with all white on, and I was reading the story about how his fingers was all dislocated on one hand, and the doctor had told him that, I can't think of the doctor's name, but it's the same one that said, that told Magic that, what he had caught and everything. But he had told him, yo, your hands and fingers are so messed up, man. You don't even need to play tonight, man. I advise you to, to sit out. And Kobe told him, I ain't sitting out tonight. Tape it up. And he went out, I think scored 42 or something, playing pretty much 80% of that game with the left hand. I just thought that guy, man, Kobe, man, was just an ultimate warrior, man. I know it's a lot of big guys, centers, and all powerful is great, man. But, I'm a guard. They used to call me Bag, which stands for big ass guard. I came up playing guard, playing ball, handling the rock and all that there. So I just got to stick with the guards. But those are my 5 best, that really meant something to me as far as like the game of basketball. Sorry, Knicks fans, I ain't get one.
Yeah, I don't got no Knicks on mine either, to be honest.
Let's get those likes up. We got 105 in the chat. I appreciate you rocking with us. We got 67 likes. Let's try to get it up to 100. Give 5 of y'all a break. Let's try to get it up to 100.
Am I next? Who's next?
Yeah, go ahead, AJ. Then we'll do Delusional, and then I'll go last.
All right. So my 5 favorite, and those are only 5 favorite for today, because next week may be different.
Right.
So don't keep a receipt. Don't waste your time. Right now, I'm gonna tell you who and those 5 favorite. They probably have little to do with talent. It's just like those are guys that I enjoyed watching play the game. Okay, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, and the last one, everybody forgot about him, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Yeah.
I used to love watch that guy.
Get through the basketball now.
Oh my God. That guy was really, he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Or to a
LSU
certain
is
extent.
over the ball and
IQ was training with him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, boy. You ain't got to tell IQ to put him up.
Not at all. he ain't training him to do that.
And guys, notice aside from Patrick Ewing, everybody I mentioned on the list, the game came to them like it was like fluid, like very easy to all of them. It's like they could do it. They could sleepwalk. They could be sleepwalking and do exactly what they do on the court. Like all those guys I mentioned. Like it came so natural to them. I really enjoy watching those guys play.
Yeah, it came natural to Pat too. It's just that he sweats so much, it just made you think like he was
Like he's working real hard.
like he's taking everything out of him.
With those teammates he had to work twice as hard, y'all.
Yeah, well, that's true too. That's true. Delusional.
Oh, you on mute, bro?
Oh, I'm muted, yeah. All right, I'll give my 5, even though I'm like the baby in the group. But so for me, born in '89, kind of grew up in that Mike era. I was rocking Jordans before I was walking, in a sense, so it kind of gravitated from my father and my cousins and everyone. So Mike, and then of course Kobe right after that, patting the game after each other, the Mamba mentality. Then, of course, in my teen years, it was AI. Just, us being identical at 6 feet, handle the rock, just taking over baggy jeans, had the cornrows and stuff. I ain't have it, I ain't had a head for that. Yeah. but it definitely was the game, just as his mentality. The same tat that I got, he got, only the strong survive. So it was really embedded with AI. Then it was Melo coming in the league, Denver Melo. It started with Syracuse, actually, when I really started to pay attention to the college game. Was that year, I believe, in 02-03. Melo coming in, just kind of taking Syracuse by storm that whole year. Mid-range, pull-up, jump shot, triple threat killer. Then, of course, a lot of people might be weird, but Ray Allen was my guy. Jesus Shuttlesworth out in Milwaukee and in Seattle. Just his form for me, his smoothness. Then, of course, when he was acting with Spike, just kind of took it to the next level for me. So it definitely was Jesus Shuttlesworth. And this person recently just kind of got in my top 5, which is all his accolades, and I got onto him late, was Magic Johnson. Because Magic obviously was out the league by the time I got here, but seeing what he meant to the league with him and his rivalry with Bird, them saving the lead actually during that time period. Then, of course, how he came in with the Converses, changed the game. People wanted to rock Converses during that time period. His court vision, him being 6'8", running the floor, charisma, stuff that he had to go through during that time period as well, as being a black guy coming along, how he dealt with, being a star, what he brought to that. Then, of course, the HBO series that's out now, watching that, get to see the other side of it, the playboyness and stuff like that, how he was the man. I was just like, nah, Magic is that guy. So, yeah, Magic kind of sneaked in on that 5th. If it wasn't Magic, it would have been T-Mac. So T-Mac kind of got pushed out when Magic, because for me, Orlando T-Mac, that's just a walking bucket. Like, I believe that's the only guy that really gave Kobe a challenge on all aspects. But yeah, sorry if I threw in the 6.
He said that.
Yeah, that's okay. You can have an honorable mention.
We have an honorable mention.
Can we have 5 honorable mentions?
I don't use honorable mentions.
What's your honorable mention, Jerrell? What's your honorable mention?
College basketball. Jason Kidd had me up at like 12 years old, you know, watching West Coast games. 12, 13 years old, I'm up there watching Cal while my mom was asleep.
Okay.
That's when he had the blonde hair doing that?
No, he had the blonde hair, but he was, you know, Jason Kidd was, I like point guards for the most part. So yeah, Jason Kidd was my guy when he was he was in college.
All right. Geoff, you have an honorable mention?
I'm just sticking with my 5. I'm good.
All right. Honorable mention, Boogie.
Man, I got too many of them, man. I'm just gonna give some love to somebody. I'm gonna give some love to Lloyd Daniels, man, because like a lot of people don't know his story and everything, you know. But that dude, he never graduated, no nothing, and still made it to the league, you know.
Yeah.
Even as you know, as a street guy, you know, getting high and all that, and being shot and everything, and you know, I think it was 2 bullets that he had between his chest and his chin or something like that. He still made it to the league and, you know, played for the Philadelphia 76ers, the San Antonio Spurs, and I think that was it. But he made it, you know, just, you know, a guy, you know, that could have been something, you know, more than really what he was if it wasn't for like the streets and stuff like that. So, yeah, 6'7", you know, do it all. Rucker know about him. Yep. You know, Lloyd Sweepy Daniels, man. You know,
watch his documentary.
Yep, very good.
That documentary was hot. Lloyd Daniels, Sweet Pea. If you guys want to look it up, that was
Yeah, I'm unsure, but I think it was said, but I'm unsure. I'm gonna double check and make sure. But I think when he I think Larry got his scholarship that he could have got when he went to UNLV. I think he got the last one coming from JUCO College or something like that. They gave it to him or something like that. I think, but I'm gonna look it up and make sure. But yeah, when he went out there, he went out in the wrong area, and Jerry sent him back. You know, so
I actually remember when he played for the Sixers because he actually came to our school to talk to us, like an assembly or something.
Oh wow,
it's crazy.
It's nice.
Yeah,
who do?
Yeah.
Shout out to John Lucas, man. John Lucas too, the program. You know, helping guys out. You know, that was often wrong situations and helping them getting straight and getting them back. You know, in the league and stuff. Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna start with my honorable mention. I only have 4 actually, but I'll start with my honorable mention.
You get ready forfeit?
Yeah, I don't really have 5, you know, favorites, but
People call you a hater, Steph. You only like 4 people.
I know.
You only like 4 people.
Yeah, it's exclusive. It's an exclusive group.
Yeah, that sounds like playing in a community center league. You know, we can start with 4. I don't know what the 5th one is.
But I'm gonna start with my honorable mention because this is actually where basketball started with me, and that was with Dr. J. Oh man, I turned on that TV. I saw Dr. J. I was just hooked on basketball, you know, and I was so hurt when they lost to the Lakers, and super happy that next year when they came back and swept them. So Dr. J would be an honorable mention. But these next 4, these guys and gals are, you know how you like a player so much, it's like they part of the family.
Yes.
That's kind of how I feel. That's kind of how I feel about them. And that starts with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was my first, I guess he was my second love after Dr. J, but he was the strongest. Magic Johnson was him. Yep. And what I liked about him is he was super, super competitive. The lights was never too bright for him. He played in I don't know how many game sevens against the Boston Celtics. And it was like he was playing in the playground. Like you never saw him tight. You never saw him where you just felt like, he nervous. This moment is too big for him. He just owned it. I remember that year where I think they had to win 3 game sevens to go to the finals. And they was about to play Utah in game 7. And they was interviewing before the game. No smile. He was just like, stay tuned. It's about to be a magic show. And you could have just cut the TV off because you could tell in his eyes they was winning this game. You just kept it on because you wanted to see how. You know, how they won. He was that dude. And people forget, as a rookie, see, Michael had to, and I'm not taking anything from Michael Jordan, but he had to grow into his greatness, right? Magic Johnson filled in for, was it a game 6 or game 7? One of those games for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a rookie. He started at center. And I forget what the stat line was, but it was phenomenal. And people thought he was joking when he said, y'all ain't got nothing to worry about. I'm a start for Kareem. We gonna be good. Everybody looking at him like that. What you talking about? Because people forget about how great Kareem was, college and NBA. And when we talk about the best players ever, we always leave Kareem out. Look at Kareem's stats. Look at his accolades. Look how many all-star games, how many all-MVPs. I believe Defensive Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Champion. Look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's always left out of the conversation. I digress. Magic stepped in as a rookie. That tells you about his mental fortitude and his belief in himself. And he balled out. If somebody can put Magic Johnson's stats in the chat for that game, I loved Magic. Magic, the confidence just oozed off of him. But his game, obviously. His game. Anyway, Magic Johnson. I don't know any particular order. Yes.
42 and 15.
42 points and 15 rebounds in place of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who couldn't go that game.
7 assists also.
7 assists. He started at center. I think he played pretty much every position that game, but he started at center.
Yeah, he jumped. He did the jump too.
As a rookie. And then to see him, HIV, how he was able to battle that and then become the businessman that he is right now. That's just my guy. Magic Johnson. Patrick Ewing. I followed him from Georgetown. I liked him in Georgetown. I remember we was watching a lottery when the Knicks got the number 1 pick, the entire building shook. That's how many people on that building, 255 Ocean Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, was watching the lottery. And when we got the number 1, you could feel like with Hurricane Sandy, the building shook. Oh man, Patrick Ewing gave everything he had for the Knicks. Just to see him dragging his foot up the court in his later years, because he just wanted to be out there. You could take Madison Square Garden and ring it out. Patrick Ewing sweat is all in there. He was just such a warrior. A lot of these people, I like their game, but it was more about their heart and their confidence and how they showed up game in and game out that really got me. And that was Patrick Ewing. Then we got to go to Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was my God. Allen Iverson didn't give a damn. Allen Iverson was going to live life and play basketball on his terms, right? And at the time, I was like, look at this guy. He don't care. Cornrows, what? He got coming into the games 10, 15 deep with his people that have been supporting him, all his life. But then his game. You see this little, what was he, 5'10" maybe?
Yes.
160 pounds or 180 or whatever it was, killing. Allen Iverson. To me, it was more about he wasn't afraid to be himself, whether you liked it or not. That was my Allen Iverson. Oh man, that's my guy. And lastly would be Cheryl Swoops. And I was a Liberty fan. And I remember when they was in the playoffs, they were selling Cheryl Swoops jersey outside. I ran and got one real quick and bundled it up and put it in my bag.
Nobody see it.
So nobody. I still got that jersey. Cheryl Swoops was just a cold-blooded killer. Period. If you watched her play, there was no facial expressions.
Yep.
She didn't get too high. She didn't get too low. I watched her shut down defensively the side of the court she was defending. The Liberty was just running that offense to the other side of the court because that's how much she was playing the passing lanes and overplaying, and they just couldn't get whoever she was guarding the ball. You know, and you can argue that Cooper was the better player at that time, but Swoops was just a two-way player. MVP of the league. She got pregnant. She went through a lot of stuff and was able to come back and still be at the top of her game. Those are my four players, but it's their game, but it's also those other aspects of them personality-wise that where I really felt connected to them. Those are
That's five. You gave us five.
Well, my honorable mention was Dr. J because I didn't have that emotional connection long term, but initially I did want him. You know, I wanted him to win. Yeah,
it's funny how pretty much everybody said Magic Johnson is. You know, doesn't matter. Like when I say top five, they don't necessarily have to be in order either.
Correct.
Magic Johnson was pretty much on everybody's list. Like I remember when he announced that he had HIV, I cried like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I did too.
At the time, I was 12 years old at the time, but yeah, I cried because that was my favorite player. He said he was retiring. I cried like a baby.
Yeah, it hurt you.
Yeah,
that hurt.
Yeah, and at the time, listen, we didn't know much about HIV. You know, he about to die. Forget retire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate it.
It was a death sentence.
I love Magic so much it made me hate Karl Malone.
Right, because people didn't want to. Right.
To this day, I don't like Karl Malone. F. Karl Malone. Never.
And when Magic came back in that All-Star game,
Karl Malone.
He was retired. I think he was retired, right? And he was voted on. And he came and played in and balled out.
Well, he came back for that season.
Oh, he did come back for that season?
He came back. He was out of the league for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then he came back. And you're right, he was voted in by the fans, and then he just balled out and took over the game like Magic of old. But yeah.
Yeah, who gave up their starting spot for him? I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Somebody gave up their spot, you know, for Magic to be a starter.
I forgot.
I don't know. Stockton was the only other point guard I knew out west.
Nah, it was somebody else like Spreewell.
Johnson,
like, it was somebody like. Nah, I don't think it was Kevin Johnson either. It was because it was.
Oh, Kevin Johnson was him.
He was nice too.
Yeah.
But I remember that Karl Malone stuff. Talk about he didn't know if he wanted to play. Like, stay your ass in Utah. Don't nobody want to see you compared to no Magic
Get
Johnson.
in your truck and go fishing, man.
Right?
Man,
have a good old time on your farm, bro. Like, we good over here.
Right.
Hey, I'm getting ready to jump
at the time.
y'all.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you. Yeah, we get ready to close out anyway, but appreciate you.
I gotta get ready. I'm getting ready to go to Kentucky tomorrow, so I'm gonna holler.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I got my own little company. You know, me and my family, we got our own little company. So get ready to move somebody from Carolina to Kentucky and spin around and come right back. That's my way of living and everything. That's what I do. And you know, so if anybody need to move, you know, wanna come from wherever you at to Carolina or something like that, yeah, I'll come get you. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
All right, bro.
Travels.
Bro.
No doubt, man. You have a great night, great day tomorrow.
All right. Steph, you good?
Yeah. My My screen went black. Can you guys see me?
Yeah,
Yep.
now it was
Back.
circling for a little bit, but yeah, you back now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't see myself on the screen, but okay.
Wow,
I'll
yeah,
just
we can see you. Don't
all right. All right. Okay. All right. We'll just go with this. My let me clean my background up. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. Thank you, Boogie. Did he leave? He left already?
Yeah, he
All
just
right.
bounced.
All right. Any less? So we'll do that. Maybe next week. I don't know. I'll think of something for next week. Maybe we'll do our most. This will be quick though. Our most hated for me would have to be somebody on Chicago. It'd probably be Larry Bird though.
Oh, my
Oh, that's a
Carmelo.
good choice.
Already.
Reggie
It'd probably
Miller.
have to be Larry Bird
Paul Pierce.
and Magic.
That's a good choice too.
I might
Yeah,
punch Carmelo.
Reggie,
not Magic. Michael. Not Magic.
Reggie
Michael.
Miller. Reggie Miller.
Oh,
Reggie,
Reggie Miller
Michael
too.
Jordan.
I was
Larry
gonna say
Bird.
if I saw Carmelo in person, I might just slap him in the face.
I don't know. He a big dude. Don't do that.
I'm bigger than Carmelo. I slap Carmelo.
Okay then. Okay.
All right.
I really wouldn't slap him, but yeah, I just hated Carmelo growing up, man. He was just
I'm with you.
he was just the anti everything I was about.
Right. Right. Yeah. Any last words before we get out of here?
Yeah, y'all make sure you check out Delusional's channel. I'm so glad he got the opportunity to be with us on the panel here. But he always has great takes, and he's got awesome stuff. I know he's kind of been too busy to post a lot right now, but make sure y'all are out there supporting the work that he does, because he works real hard at it, and he's real sharp, and he knows his stuff. And of course, Queen, you always the best. And Jerrell, you got any
Appreciate
Giant
you.
stuff coming up?
Yes, Die Hard Giants will be back this coming Wednesday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna start having a Wednesday show every week, and we do the watch alongs every Sunday or whenever the Giants play. But every Wednesday, I will probably give like a preview to the ongoing game for the week. So let's try to get 2 shows a week now instead of the 1 show I did last year.
Okay. Do you know what time Wednesdays it'll be running? About
It's gonna either have to most likely 9, maybe get a little earlier, but most likely 9 o'clock.
okay. All right. Do the Giants play the Sunday after that?
Yeah, we play on the
They
10th.
do? The 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the last Sunday or last weekend without football until February, so I'm happy.
Y'all play Dallas, right? Y'all open with Dallas?
We open up with Dallas.
Sunday night football. Sunday night, Dallas. We gonna be 1-0, and I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Dallas be 0-2 then, because I think the Jets get them the week after that.
Yep, they play the Jets the week after that. So
Oh, really? I have to look. I have to look at the schedule again. The second week we play the Jets.
Yeah.
no.
No,
Dallas,
the
Dallas
Jets play the
plays.
Cowboys.
Dallas
in the
plays
second
Jets. Oh, okay. I was about to
Dallas
say I don't
plays-
remember that.
both New York teams twice in a row. I think they I don't know if they're leaving because Jeff, is it a home game for the Jets? Because it's a
week. I
home
don't
game
know.
for us.
I think we're coming to Cowboys Stadium because we
Oh,
open at home against Buffalo, and then I think we
okay.
travel to Dallas.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right.
Which is actually the closest game to me, but tickets are so expensive at Jerry World. I got no chance at going to see them. But we went, and when the Jets played the Texans a couple years ago, I got to go see them play. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't remember the last time I actually went to a Giants game. It's been a while. Like those tickets are expensive as hell.
Yeah. And for me, it would have to happen in October. I'm not going to be sitting out there in December.
Right.
Maybe November.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe next time, if you're in the Northeast, build a dome.
Yes,
Oh,
Yes.
right.
exactly this.
It's all good.
Right. The link to Delusional's channel is in the description. The link to all the I Cram to Understand You audio podcasts, the 2 on Randle that was done with Stapha and Anthony D, 1 on Mitchell Robinson with Jeff Klafter, 1 on Coach Thibodeau with Sim from Nothing But Knicks. And then also Jeff Klafter has a blog, and the link to his blog is also in the description. He writes about the Knicks and other sports topics as well. And he's a really, really good writer. Look out for the newsletter. That should be back next week.
Nice.
And then the audio podcast. I'm going to do some sort of series leading up to the start of the season, probably focus on each player and the 3 things that I think I'm looking forward to seeing from them in the upcoming season. Something like that. I haven't really figured it out. Yep.
NBK, I don't know if you want to mention NBK's doing something like maybe opening night. I don't know if you have that information.
Oh, yeah. I don't have all of the information, but I'm pretty sure it's on the website now. So if you go to nbkfam.com, if you want to go to, we're not doing the opening night from what I understand. I think we're doing November 1st, which is the Knicks versus Cleveland. If I'm not mistaken, something happened with the first game against Boston, and we weren't able to get group tickets. So nbkfam.com, you should be able to register and put your down payment down for the game against Cleveland. And I believe that's November 1st, if I'm not mistaken. But October 7th, if you're in the Coxsackie, I hope I said that right, area, south of Albany, New York.
Yeah, that's tricky.
That's tricky.
Don't say that wrong.
Right.
Take your time. Say it slow. Say it slowly. Don't slip.
Right. I ain't gonna even try it again. We're gonna have the season kickoff, cookout, barbecue, get together, gathering, whatever you want to call it, October 7th, and that would also be on nbkfam.com if it's open for registration. I'm not even sure if it's open yet, but yeah, that's where we are.
Cool.
Yeah, and with that, and I just want to say for those who use the Mac computer, Macs just work. I'm here having all kinds of problems with my PC, hooking it up to the monitor, the power this, and all kinds of stuff. I brought my Mac just for, editing videos. I hooked that up to the monitor, no problem whatsoever. Just purring like a Lexus.
Yep, I run all my stuff on a little Mac Mini. Like I love them.
I'm about to give up on the PC, and now I got it a little bit down packed where I'm able to operate. I don't know. I might be leaving the PC community.
Yeah, like PC is good for office stuff, but like to do stuff like this, yeah. I once I got my Mac, I never looked back. It's been smooth sailing ever since.
Yeah, I think I'm about to make that transition. Anyway, until next time, fam.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. Step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. DopeSoul.
Where you at?
DopeSoul.
Where you at?
DopeSoul.